What's up, everybody? Today, I am asking a question that most realtors don't even have a great answer to, and that's, what is title insurance? We have Dan Cimino from Fidelity National Title, who happens to be my associated sales rep at Fidelity, and he absolutely not only is one of the best dudes I know, but understands the title insurance game, understands title. When I have a question, I can call him, and if he doesn't know the answer, he goes and finds it from his higher ups, and that's absolutely key in a smooth real estate transaction. And honestly, a lot of real estate agents don't even know fully what title insurance is. So I'm bringing Dan on today to bring that information to you as the consumer, because title insurance is a very important part of your transaction, can come in handy when something goes wrong that maybe we didn't even know about. So let's dive into title insurance with Dan Cimino. Hey everybody, Jeremy Kane, eXp Realty here. Please smash that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. If you have any questions about this video, don't hesitate to type them. DM me. You can find me at JKCO Realtor, both on Instagram and Facebook. And I'd be happy to get you in touch with Dan or answer any questions about real estate you might have. So without further ado, let's bring Dan on. All right, everybody, we got Dan Cimino from Fidelity National Title with us today. Dan, welcome on. Dan is a title rep with Fidelity National Title. He has been my trusted source with all things title insurance from day one. And so I appreciate Dan. His knowledge is vast, and wanted to just kind of bring him on to talk a little bit about title, but let's say what's up to Dan. Dan, how are you?
Good. Doing well. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Good, man. All right. We're going to dive into one of the most confusing pieces of the real estate transaction, especially for the consumer, and what title insurance is. So, Dan, well, let's just start with, what the heck is title insurance?
Yeah. That's a good question, and I'll start out. It's unlike auto, property, casualty, health, and life insurance, which actually insures the future, right? Well, owner's title policy actually insures the past. Any hidden hazards that come up, prior to the purchase of the property, which then becomes the current owner's responsibility.
Right.
Some of those examples would be like a previous owner's debt, forgeries, liens, that pop up when they go to either refinance or then purchase or sell their house in the future.
Okay, maybe some encroachments and some boundary line issues.
Yep, do that too. And then, and that's probably, you touched on a situation that's probably the most common claims is boundaries, encroachments, property lines. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. People like their property, every square centimeter of it, right? So
Want to add real quick is title insurance is a one-time premium. It's not a monthly premium. Customary sellers pay for owner's title policy because they're guaranteeing clear title, and you can talk about all of that other options and negotiations, but it is just a one-time premium.
Okay. Yeah. And that's usually paid by the seller. The seller chooses the title company, and that's usually paid at closing. So it's kind of the closing costs. I like to explain it to buyers, especially, and sellers, as the buyers kind of pay for the loan and that piece, and title's kind of a seller's piece. So definitely can save the seller some headaches down the road if, something happens down the road, because obviously property is property, and it's not like we inspect every single property with a fine-tooth comb. But that's kind of title insurance, and it's a very necessary thing. And a lot of people don't ever have to use it, but when you do have to use it, I've found that it's something that's very helpful, because property issues and things with boundaries, and obviously like parties in possession and all that crazy stuff that can happen, it can get very expensive really quickly. So that's kind of title insurance. So I guess let's kind of go in. We kind of touched on this. When would title insurance be useful to either party? What's kind of when do you come into the process if you have a title issue? When does the title insurance company step in?
Yeah, when there's a claim on the policy. So if there's a situation where there's a dispute about maybe boundaries, encroachments, unpaid debts, then the current owner will reach out, and then we will let them know how to submit that claim to us, and then we basically take it from there. And the current owner is pretty much just on sidelines until we come up with it. Yeah.
So, for instance, say we bought a house at 123 Main Street 5 years ago, and we find out that there's a tax lien that was not recorded properly or was not attached to the property. The current owner, since we bought the house 5 years ago, the tax lien is from 15 years ago, say, we as the current owner would go to the title company, or sometimes even the owner, the previous seller, right? It just depends on how that rolls.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, if they can clear it up between those two, more power to them. But if that's not an amicable situation, just reach out to us and we'll take care of it, because we will go after whoever's at fault.
Right.
And at no cost to the current owner.
Right. So if there's something hidden, we sign a lot of documents at closing that say, there's no other liens, there's no future liens, there's nothing that we have done to the property when we're selling it to create liens. So that's kind of the title company's power, is those affidavits and things that are signed at closing.
Exactly.
And so then it kind of becomes, okay, and even still, I think at any point, if you go back to, the previous seller and say it's a boundary issue that they didn't know about or something, that previous seller is going to raise their hand and be like, what about title insurance? And so it's kind of a multifaceted piece, but who is actually insured? The buyer or the seller?
Well, yeah, whoever buys the property and that is the current owner of that property is who is insured.
Okay, cool. So that's a very important piece of the puzzle, because it's a little confusing because the seller pays for it,
Correct.
But the buyer insures it. But the way the real estate transaction, especially in Colorado, is laid out traditionally, all of this is kind of negotiable at contract. Is, the seller takes care of the title, the buyer takes care of the loan, and then they have the down payment. Because if we put this all on the buyer, those down payments would be a lot harder to come up with, because typically cash is the least plentiful in these transactions. That's why we have lenders and things like that. So that's a great, explanation of what it is. And so this is another question I have for you, especially this is for realtors, clients, if they understand at a high level, the special warranty deed and the general warranty deed, because title in Colorado, they prepare a lot of the documents. They work hand in hand with the lender to get the closing package. And actually the title insurance company and the escrow officer, presents the entire package. So they're presenting, sometimes stacks this big, sometimes stacks this big, for everybody involved. So they help realtors out, they help the lenders out, and they're usually they are notaries. So they, notarize it all. So we're not going from different place to different place. It's not required to have an attorney do it in our state. So the warranty deed is what actually transfers ownership of the property. And in Colorado, about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit less, we went from a general warranty deed as a default to a special warranty deed. General warranty deed is the seller warranting the property back to the beginning of time. Special warranty deed is the seller warranting the property while they were in ownership. But then we throw in title insurance. And how do those two and the difference between those two affect the title insurance policy, or do they at all?
They do. Like you said, the special warranty deed just insures the seller, current owner, transferring it just for the time that they've actually lived in the property, right? So you're right on the money. General, again, just to reiterate what you said, not only for the time that they own the property, but like you said, previous. Now, here's a little caveat. those people that do have a general warranty deed, I would not be alarmed for that. And I probably have one on my house. I'm like 99% sure I do.
Right.
And I'm not worried about it, because what we as a title company do is we always search back from the day of the contract, from closing, right, back to the previous title policy that was issued. Could be from us, it could be from another title insurance company, right? So we issue that back to the last policy. If something happened, if you have a general warranty deed and something happened even further back, the title company that insured it before us will then step up and insure anything that pops up during that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And what happens if there's not a title policy back? Like say the roles were reversed and there was a different title company closing this one, Fidelity warranted or issued the policy on the previous owner, but then the owner before that bought it from their mom and they didn't have a title insurance policy placed on them. How would that look?
It wouldn't look good for them that didn't have a policy.
Right.
That's why you always want to have a policy in place.
Right. Yeah. Those insurance companies, title insurance, they always try and go back to, it's just honestly finding fault where the issue was made. Exactly. And sometimes as homeowners that happens. And key point, refinancing. Anything, it's always important, especially if it's changing ownership, to get a title policy, because I've had family in different states that didn't have a title policy for a certain amount of time. Yeah. And then things got ugly. Some things happened. They had a death. Actually, the person who passed away had purchased the home from his family and he had a bunch of siblings, and there was a lapse in title because he was just trying to, he put his law degree, in there, and they kind of refinanced everything, as people do with the interest rates typically much better on a mortgage. You can pay off a lot of your debt and put it all in one. Well, you'd done that. So the house was, had a lot more debt on it when he passed away, and there was a title insurance issue and there was an access issue. And my poor family member who was still living had to actually create another access point because the family wanted their money at that point. Right. So it was a terrible situation and a terrible lesson to always have that title insurance. And, even when it seems normal, right? Because it's really for the future people that are owning the house that you don't even know, who you don't love, right? So, yes. So with title insurance, the insurance policy doesn't matter if it's special warranty or general warranty. You just go back to the previous title policy. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Right. So you're not warranting this, based on the deed. The title insurance is totally different chain of title, insurance policies, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. The seller is technically warranting that the title is good and clear. That's why they pay for the title insurance to have that additional value. So yeah. That's awesome, Dan. And if people have any questions, where can they contact you and where can they find you?
Feel free to reach out to me. And the best way is just my cell number. Okay. Either, call me or text. And that number is 303-909-8848. More than happy to help you answer anybody's questions about title.
All right. Perfect, Dan. And thanks so much for your time again, Dan, with Fidelity National Title. He works with a wonderful team over there, Monica. Mm-hmm. I know Leslie's retiring, so give her a shout out as she goes away. But Sharon and the whole crew over there, absolutely. Anytime there's any issues or I have a question, I call Dan right away. And I've given you some doozies over the years, so we kept it pretty simple today.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for your time, man.
Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate you.
All right.
All right, man.